All right, boys, have a seat. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We are going to predict our Premier League table this video, so stick around as we dive deeper into this. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Mike. Huge fan of the best team in London, which happens to be Chelsea. If you agree with that, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate that. Now, I'm going to try not to be biased too much. I am going to be looking at my computer screen here a little bit to talk about the teams where I think they're going to sit, who's going to win the league, and who's going to get relegated. So first off, let's start with relegation, which it's always difficult to know exactly what teams are going to get relegated because when injuries happen, players don't perform well, it gets really difficult. Managers get fired and they get let go. And I have 4 teams that I think are going to be possibly getting relegated. Obviously, only 3 get relegated, but are going to be kind of at the bottom at the end of the season. Now, those 4 teams come down to Fulham, Bournemouth, Southampton, and Leeds. Now, let's talk about all 4 of these clubs. Now, Fulham, it's really difficult to see how they're going to do. Yes, they have obviously a top striker who did so well in the championship, but it doesn't always translate into the Premier League. Now, granted, scoring that many goals, you'd think that he could be able to find the back net multiple times, but that is not going to be the issue for Fulham. It is going to be their defense and how many goals they actually let up throughout the season. Because, yes, if they score goals, great, but if you are letting up so many goals, you're not going to win matches or not get as many points as you need throughout the season. And I think for Fulham, they're going to lose a lot of games early on. They play Liverpool right off the bat. And yes, that's going to be a difficult match no matter what time you play Liverpool. But I think just starting off against a hard fixture is going to then just keep building on it. And that's going to be very difficult for Fulham. After that, I do then have Bournemouth going down as well, another promoted team. Bournemouth just haven't gone out and really spent the cash that they need to. Their team was, again, good in the championship. I think they did fairly well, but coming up into Premier League and not spending a lot of cash could come and bite them at the end of the season. I just don't think they really have a lot of talent that, again, they do have talent, but not talent in the Premier League itself, which is where they're going to struggle as well. Same thing, like I said about Fulham, I don't think they're going to be able to have a lot of clean sheets throughout the season and therefore lose a lot of matches. Now, the last one, though, I've gone back and forth on this one because Southampton and Leeds, both teams definitely struggled this past season. And Marsh coming back in for Leeds after just a terrible season that Leeds had and somehow let them stay up barely. Really wants me to put down Leeds, but now that he's had a whole offseason with his team, brought some players in as well, I think this is going to help Leeds off, that they're going to be able to escape the relegation again this season, which means that Southampton is finally going to go down. And it really is difficult for me to say this because, yes, they have a lot of talent around this entire club. James Ward-Prowse, probably one of the best free kick takers in the league, really good midfielder and everything. But the thing is that Southampton just really, when they start struggling, they struggle bad. And as we saw last year, once they hit just this stuck in the mud or this rut in the season, things just went south and they just plummeted. Same thing I think is going to happen this year. They may start off kind of decent. People are going to say, oh, look, Southampton's doing well. Come December, maybe after there's an international break with the World Cup, I think that could really throw this team off. Chemistry goes down, and therefore I see them getting relegated. So my bottom 3 teams in Fulham, Bournemouth, Southampton, in that order, followed by Leeds at just getting out of the relegation zone. Now, after that, I think it's kind of a crapshoot when you go from pretty much 16th to about 10th, if not 9th place. I think all these teams can fluctuate for the most part. But that being said, I do have Crystal Palace. They're a team that just always do okay in the Premier League. They don't do amazing. They have some good players, but they don't really ever shine so well. But they do well enough that they always stay in the Premier League, and therefore I see them sitting at 16th. After that, then, I have Everton, which this one I could be way off as well. I could see Everton actually getting relegated as well. I should have mentioned that earlier because they, Frank Lampard, love the manager, think he can do well there, but right now they just don't have the firepower that Everton used to be, and therefore if they start having some bad games, I could see Frank Lampard getting fired, bring in a new manager. That system does not work, and it could just be just this cycle going down and down and down and eventually just crashing out of the Premier League. That being said, though, since I am a bit biased with Frank Lampard, I really hope the best for him, and that is why I think he will possibly keep Everton up, and I think they'll finish in 15th. They still have to go and get a few more signings. I'm not too sure who's still on the radar as of right now. I know they're thinking about getting Ross Barkley from Chelsea. Frank Lampard loved this player, used to play Everton. That could be maybe an upgrade for Everton. Along with some of the other players, I think Gordon does quite well. I think Lampard's going to get the best out of this player this season. He seems to do that quite well as a manager, getting his youth to play a lot better. So who knows? Possibly he get the best of these younger players and again help Everton stay afloat this year in the Premier League season. After that, then we have Wolves, and really, I'm not going to say too much about Wolves. They're a solid team that can play very defensively. They can win a lot of games 1-0, and same thing for them. If they're able to go out and win a few games just like that, they will be totally fine. If they don't, then it's going to be kind of a little iffy for them. But overall, I think Wolves should be okay. Sa is a great goalkeeper, and again, they keep a lot of clean sheets that they probably are going to get a lot of draws throughout this entire season, and therefore, like I said, have enough points to stay above the relegation zone. Following that, then, this is a team that I wanted to put up higher, and actually, I thought about almost putting them a lot lower, and that is Leicester City, because this club right now, they have such great players. They may be losing some players. Tillmans might be going off to Arsenal. If that happens, that could really devastate this team. They also had some big injuries last year. Vardy being out, Fofana with the broken leg. If all these players can stay healthy, I think Leicester City should be a fairly decent side this season. They don't have any other cup competitions. Yes, they have the FA, the league, but they don't have any European cups tied with them. So again, that'll give them more time to rest up their players. And I think because of that, that will help them throughout this entire season. And I think they should be okay. Again, minus any big injuries. If they do get that, then it's hard to say. And also with Tielemans as well, because if Tielemans is out the door, he's a big asset in their midfield, and they would have to find someone to fill those roles. I know Madison's a pretty good midfielder as well that could maybe do that, but he's also injury prone as well. And there's always my cat who likes to join the videos. After that, then we do go into our first promoted team that will stay up and only team that will stay up, and that is Nottingham Forest. I think they've done a good enough job to bring some players in to upgrade their squad from the championship into the Premier League. Like I mentioned with the other clubs that did not do that, I'm curious to see how Jesse Lingard does at this club as well. I think they have the firepower and the knowledge to stay up. They once were a great club. I think they can really bring that back into the Premier League. So again, I think this team should do quite well. Manager-wise, solid as well. So again, I think Nottingham Forest will blow some people away with how well they do this season. After that, then we have Brentford, who got promoted last season. They're kind of a Moneyball type club. And again, same thing. I think they'll do okay. Yes, they don't have Ericsson this year. He did go to Manchester United, which that could be a huge role because when he came in, he definitely was a creative player. Definitely helped out Tony score some goals later in the season where he was having a bit of a struggle. But I think overall, they're a team that, again, are capable of beating any team. They really pushed against Chelsea. They pushed against Liverpool. I'm trying to think if they did well against Manchester City. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the fact that they could do well against Liverpool and Chelsea speaks volume for the club already. And again, I think they'll do okay this season. Now, that rounds out the bottom half of the table. So right now, I want to know what you guys think. So comment down below what you think about this current club or current table with the clubs I have right now. I want to know what you guys think. So top half, I'm not going to go too much into the next few clubs because I think these, again, are all over the place. But Brighton, West Ham, and Newcastle. Brighton being 10th, West Ham being 9th, and Newcastle being at 8th. Now, again, I'm not going to talk too much about Brighton. I think they're an okay club. Nothing really sticks out for them or really they're that bad. So, again, I think 10th is pretty middle of the road for them. After that, West Ham. Moyes, yes, is good at this club. They did bring in Skamaka. I think they could do okay, but the top half of the table is just so strong that it's very difficult, I think, for West Ham to break through even the top 6. And Newcastle obviously threw a bunch of money into their club this season, which is why I have them at number 8. I think all the players, Howell, I think he can get the best of his players now that he has a full season as well with these players for preseason. And again, I think Newcastle just has so much money that they're going to be in the top 8. And I wouldn't be surprised if they actually push a little bit higher. Following that, then, our first big club is Manchester United. I have them sitting at 7th, which I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate on this because people are going to say Manchester United should be so much better. They have ETH now coming in, a real manager who really is going to help this squad. Some of the younger players have been playing really, really well with him. Sancho being one of them, I think he's going to have a great season. But Same thing is that they cannot compete with the other clubs. And I say that because I know my next club, which is not a big club, but I think they're going to do well. But back to United is that I still have issues with Ronaldo. Not sure what's going to happen with that. If Ronaldo plays, yes, he can score goals. You're not going to get defensive mindset from him, though, which could be a big issue for the manager and for his tactics. So again, this is where I think there's going to be a bit of a headache and a bust up with the team itself. And I think that's going to affect the entire club. Now, that being said, I know, like I said, with all the teams, Aston Villa, I actually have at sitting at 6. This might be my wild prediction in this entire video because Steven Gerrard, I think, has a capability being one of the best managers. And being a Chelsea fan, it hurts to say this a little bit, but what he's done in his career already as a manager just speaks volume for this guy. And I think he has the capability of making Aston Villa a very, very good team and a very hard team to beat. He's got some few players they picked up last season at the January transfer window, which obviously elevated this club. I think he's going to get the best out of Coutinho, who still, in my eyes, is one of the best midfielders out there. Yes, he struggled at Barcelona, but even last season when he played for Aston Villa, you just saw how great this player is. And I think if he gets a few more players signings this transfer window yet, and gets them implemented right away, I think Aston Villa is going to be a very difficult team to go and play against at their home stadium because, like I said, Steven Gerrard gets the best of his players, and somehow he has this just way of doing things for tactic-wise that, again, just shows how much he knows about the game itself and how knowledgeable and like to get the best out of his players. So that's why I actually think they will finish 6th this season, which is very high for them, but I think very doable. After that, we have Arsenal finishing in 5th once again this season. I think Mikel Arteta, yes, has the capability to get this team into the top 4, but I don't see them doing it the entire season with Europa. I think that is going to play a massive factor in them. I know a lot of clubs want to be in Europa or the Champions League, but Europa being such a late game in the week on a Thursday, I think really affects a lot of clubs and players, and just all the traveling really puts a lot of wear and tear on the players, which they're going to lose some big games because of that. And therefore, like I said, when they start dropping points in those big games, that is going to be the difference between 5th and 4th place. Now, our top 4, this again is where I'm probably going to have some controversial as well, because my first team in the top 4 is Liverpool. Yes, I have Liverpool sitting at number 4, and there's a big reason why I have this. Now, it's not because of Salah, because I think Salah is still a great player. He is getting a little bit older, but I still think he has the capability of being one of the best players in the entire Premier League. It's the fact that Mane is not there anymore. I think because Mane is now gone, that is going to play a big, big role in this club, because I don't think people will really understand how well and how important this player was for the club, how dynamic and how skillful he was, finding the back of the net, creating chances, opening up defenses to play balls to to Salah and to Firmino, Jota, all these players. And I think, yes, they have a few other players like Diaz out there. Yes, they did bring in Darwin as well, but they don't have the skill set that Mane had. And I think because of that, they're going to lack in goal scoring opportunities in their big matches. And therefore, like I said, they will get top 4, but I don't see them actually competing for the title itself, which, again, I might get a lot of hate for this, but that is where I'm seeing them this season. Who knows how that's going to go? I could eat these words later in the season itself. Now, at 3rd, then, I have Chelsea, my team, which I'm probably being a little bit biased here, but I think Thomas Tuchel still has the capabilities of making this team great. Yes, we obviously have struggled in the preseason itself, but I think once we get the full season get going and everyone gets playing under Thomas Tuchel, I think we'll start getting things going, get our defense back to where it should be with Chilwell, Koulibaly, Thiago Silva. I'm not sure if Azpilicueta will still be there, but Trevor Chalobah and Reece James, if all those players can stay healthy, they will be a solid back line, which again will prevent a lot of teams from scoring goals on Chelsea. And I see Chelsea winning a lot of matches this season. 1-0, 2-1, going to be a lot of close games, a lot of nail biters, but I see them grinding a lot of matches out and finishing in the top 4. So that leaves 2 teams left, Manchester City and Tottenham. I'm not putting Tottenham number 1. I would be crazy to think that. Even being a Chelsea fan, I would never put Tottenham number 1, but I do see Conte pushing this entire team to the finish line to just fall short to Manchester City, because I think Conte has the capability of getting the best of all his players at this club. I think Kane's going to have one of his best seasons. Same with Son. Bentancur, Kula, Seski, Eric Dyer, I think is going to be one of the standout players this season as well. I think that's a bold prediction as well for most people, but I think Eric Dyer under Conte is going to be one of the best players this season. Watch it happen just because I know Conte knows how to get the players to play well and in a certain position, and I think he can manipulate Dyer to be one of the best players this season. Again, bold prediction. We'll see what happens there, but that is what I'm thinking. I think, like I said, it comes down to maybe the last week or the last second week in the season where Tottenham are just going to fall short to Manchester City, which, again, I probably don't have to say much about this. Manchester City winning the league again. Braun Holland, Jack Grealish, I think, is finally getting ready to play with this club. I think those two guys alone are going to pair up for so many goals this year. It's going to be scary. Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, obviously, I can go on and on and on about this team and how well this team is stacked in every single position. It's going to be fun to watch them win it again. Joking, obviously. But I think they're such a good team. I think Pep Guardiola, yes, is obviously going to have a lot of pressure on the Champions League and focus on that, but they're still able to go each and every weekend into the Premier League and obviously just steamroll every team besides the top four. So again, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, I think those teams can compete with them, but every other club, they are just going to annihilate this season. I think Haaland might be having the golden boot this year. There's a few other players. I think Gabriel Jesus might be another player that could be up there. And even Mohamed Salah, I think, could still get the golden boot, even though Liverpool finishing in fourth. So that is my bold prediction. I think there are a few crazy ones out there. I think Aston Villa being number 6 is probably my biggest prediction. Bottom 3 relegation, I think, are fairly a good guess for the most part. And then finishing top 2, Tottenham, Manchester City, I think that's kind of going to be up in the air as well. But I want to know what you guys think. So comment down below what you think about some of these crazy predictions. Obviously, we'll see how the season goes. It could all change after a few weeks. I could be totally off, or hopefully I'm right on the course, except for I want Chelsea to obviously win the Champions League and the Premier League, but don't see it happening this season. So that is all I have for you today. If you did, like I said, enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate that. And until next time, I will see you.